Responsibility means that you are in the place where God promised you. You know, that's why oppressed people confuse deliverance with freedom. I think about my friends watching this program all over the United States right now. You know, they recently gained the right to vote. In the 60s, not long ago, just in the 60s. Some of us forget that. The people of African descent in America got the right to vote. Just in the 60s. You women here in the Bahamas, just think back. You just got yours too. Don't forget too quickly about deliverance. But you see, in the United States, many of our friends watching this program, they mistook deliverance for freedom. Martin Luther King was a great deliverer, not a freedom fighter, because nobody can set you free. The right to vote is not freedom. And they confused civil rights with human rights. Deliverance gives you civil rights. But freedom helps you appropriate human rights. I've discovered an interesting principle. If you gain human rights, no one can give you civil rights. Hello, somebody. What's the difference between human rights and civil rights? It's different between Sinai and Canaan. Pharaoh let the people go, didn't he? And then Pharaoh said, afterwards, go after them, get them, bring them back. I want you to know that your oppressor ain't quite excited about you leaving. I hope you all listen to me prophetically now. Not because they give you a little bit of voting rights means that you got human rights. You see, if you read the Bible carefully, the oppressor let the people go because of problems. It was no longer comfortable. Pharaoh's son had died. The rivers was filled with blood. There was frogs in the soup, man. There was flies in the castle. There was pressure on the oppressor. I've never met an oppressor who says, okay, now I'm tired of oppressing thee. I will now release thee. Oppressors never quite let you go. They never have. There was pressure somewhere that forced them to release you. And in South Africa, watching this program, you know it's true. Even you great leaders of South Africa, it was pressure from sanctions, international community that made them say, you know, we better let these water carriers and wood choppers have some right to vote. Same thing here in our country. But when they released you, they didn't let you go. And so they gave you civil rights in America. And even here, they give you civil rights. But now comes the big shock. They didn't give you human rights. So now, instead of calling it racism in America, in the corporate world, they call it a glass ceiling. Y'all ever read that word? Glass ceiling means you can go up so far, even though you can see up, you can't go no further. Well, we have a glass ceiling in the Bahamas too. And some of y'all sitting there going, praise the Lord. You ain't free. You just delivered so far. We ain't delivered till we own the land and we planting the corn and we reaping the corn and we canning the corn and we selling the corn. Long as we nice and yes, and if we begin to believe this is prosperity, brother, don't you call manna prosperity. Manna is loan food. It's on loan. The manna gonna dry up. And the same thing is true about your life. There's stuff that God used to cover you in grace for. You sin, God grace you over. You mess up, God grace you. It is God grace you. But there comes a time when God says, you're going to reap what you sow. You're going to suffer what you did. You're going to go through this problem. You're going to have problems because you knew better. There comes a time when God says, now it's time for you to grow up and have internalized responsibility. And so in the United States, they really thought that they had freedom. And my friends watching the program will know that that's not true. Now recently, in the last couple of years, they repealed some of the legislation that Martin Luther King gained. And now they are pulling back some stuff. And in some ways, I can't disagree. Because a lot of stuff that we thought was freedom was simply deliverance. Affirmative action, for example, is only deliverance. Affirmative action means what? I need you to affirm me, to give me permission to move up. What are you talking about? No one can give you the right to be a human. If you don't know you're a human, then you're in trouble. If you don't know that you have dignity all by yourself and worth by yourself, and you don't need no one to make you somebody, if you don't know that, then you're going to be controlled by people. If you need someone to be someone, then you can only be what they allow you to be. But if you know you're somebody all by yourself, because God gave you word by yourself, and you got your own value out of God's statement on you, then you are free from other people's opinions. And so deliverance must not be confused with freedom.